I said, why me? I ate organic food. I was good to the earth. I was a milk hauler and watched all these beautiful farms go away. We're a very foolish society. We had a sustainable lifestyle here.
Thanks, Roz. I'm with you on that too. My neighbor. I'll be as quick as I can. I brought some stuff today I'm going to leave with you. I didn't make enough for the whole committee because I just, Anyway, this is an article from March 1991. I believe it's Ledger Telegram in central Wisconsin. Mines to boost economy of Flambeau. This was a big story about the great jobs that were coming to Flambeau and all the great economic and how safe it was going to be environmentally. And there was a quote from the then president of WMC telling us how this was going to be so great for Flambeau. It was going to help all the kids, and there was going to be, what was his name? Jim Hanley. The quote was, economic boost. Some of our counties need to ensure the future of the children. So instead of the North Star Economics study, I presented this to the committee, but I just wanted to present it. This is the Mining Impact Coalition of Wisconsin. When mines enter mines, the investigation of Ladysmith and the economic impact of the Flambeau mine. It was done by the Mining Impact Committee in 1997. So this isn't some left-wing, Native American liberal organization. This was the Mining Impact Committee. And the lessons of them basically says, number 2, mining does not create economic prosperity. Mining does not even create relative prosperity in the rural centers where impacts could have been readily obvious. Mining may even add to the poverty as it distracts the priorities of urban planners and creates false hopes for the residents in the poor communities. So this study goes on to legitimize the fact that mining does not create prosperity. Now, if we looked at the newspaper articles from Ladysmith News, 1992, unemployment was 4.6, 1992. Later, on 9.1, now the county has the highest unemployment in the state where Flambeau is. And as we know, they were just charged with 11 counts of contamination of the water. So this is snake oil that we've been sold up here. I'm with you, Roz. I'm exhausted. I'm broke from chasing down this corporate takeover of our government. I've been working on a book with Laura Gauger, doing an ebook of The Buzzards Have Landed, and I had a chance to read about the history of mining. The whole Roscoe Churchill outlines everything that happened with that moratorium piece by piece. I read about the 3 senators who helped save that bill. And Senator Schultz was one, and Senator McCowles was one. And you're faced with this again. And I speak with Roz, I stand with Bad River, that we will not have a mine here. And you will see some incredible unrest and people who will die for this. I will lay my body down and I will die for this, because without that and without our water and without our neighbors, but more than that, that these legislators in the whoever has taken over the Republican Party, present company excluded, have no connection between what they are doing to what these people's lives are. And they have infiltrated the news media with so much misinformation that you can never know what the truth is by reading the news. The only way I know the truth is because I go down there and I watch you guys, and I sit there and I watch you and I hear what they say, and they don't say what they say they say. They don't. They lie. Scott Suter had a press conference where he said, Janet Bewely sat down with us and we worked out all this stuff. Well, Janet apparently didn't know about that. So in conclusion, I would hope that the way that this is going to be saved is when you guys go back to those legislators who are lying to us and you tell them behind those closed doors or whatever cocktails you're going to go out and have or whatever way that you guys do these backroom deals, and you sit down and you tell them face to face, these people are not going to allow this. These people are going to die for this. And we're going to stand by Bad River, and we will not let this genocide happen, because that is what will happen. And you better believe there's more people than just in this room or that you've heard. How many, was it 92% of the people against at the Joint Finance? What was it the other committee hearing? How many people were against, how many for? We don't even know anymore what the results were. They're not even going to say it. And what was the results of all the people who wrote in to cast their vote to Tiffany? And if I do an open records request for Mr. Tiffany between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on January 23rd, will I get the runaround like I did Mary Williams, who said, I don't use email? No, this is a serious, serious, deeper issue. And I totally respect you guys for having to sit in those rooms with those people and look at them day after day, lying to you. I saw how Glenn Grothman talked to you the other day, Senator Jauch, and I was just, but you know, we can caulk it. That's what he said to the farmers, right? Yeah, that's what Glenn said. If it leaks, we'll just caulk it. Jobs. Anyway, thank you so much.
You're listening to a live broadcast, a listening session on the Democratic and Republican iron ore mining bills in Wisconsin on Wisconsin Public Radio stations 90.9 WUWS in Ashland and 91.3 KUWS in Superior
Mike Lynch from
and 97.7
County,
WRNC.
Twin Cities. God bless redheaded women. Being Irish, I can say that. I also have cousins in Janesville. My apartment, the bar down there, was one of my cousins. Yeah, Jerry. I haven't read the bills. I got here too late. I didn't get a copy. But listen to all the comments. I don't want to read them because some of my questions have been answered. One of my homes is in Texas. We are seeing the results of the governor giving eminent domain to the people who are now destroying farms, laying the Keystone Pipeline that isn't even approved to be built. They're blowing through farms, they're digging up things, they're displacing people, and they're using the eminent domain. I understand eminent domain is in this bill. I had a question that if our mining laws, which I heard today, are so good, and the 98 mining moratorium is in there, that says if you can show you can do a good sulfide mine, you can do one. They've walked away. They haven't been able to do one in 25 years or 15 years. And I hear in the bill that now they're taking out the 98 moratorium. Looney Tunes. The inmates are running the asylum. I've traveled around the country. I'm a survivor. Started out in Dane County. I went with, got a call from JFK that I couldn't refuse. I survived the military. I survived cancer. I survived stock car racing. I survived school bus driving.
But not red-headed women.
Not red-headed women. I have a soft spot for them. I would like to not only be listed among the living, but I want to be alive. We live in the Twin Cities of Sawyer County on the end of a dead-end road. We get PBS, no other channels. The cell phone works if you don't wiggle. The stars are outside. We have no noise pollution, no light pollution. We can still drink the water. We don't subscribe to bottled water. And I hate to see in the years to come, when people come up here, if they say, is it still safe to drink the water? Go to Libby, Montana. You want to know the story of Taconite, the town that's been killed. Libby, Montana, there's a book been written on it. A guy came back from 3 tours in the Nam. He's now condemned to death and his entire family because of the taconite dust. 1/3 of the town is condemned to death. Libby, Montana. I've seen the sulfites and the pollution running down the hillsides. Montana. The abandoned mines in Nevada. They sent college kids out one day to count how many abandoned mines there were in Nevada because people kept falling in them. They quit at 500. I've seen West Virginia, 22 to 2,800 miles of streams and valleys filled in because of mountaintop mining. Look at the Mesabi Range. Look at California, Northern California. I've been in Northern California, the abandoned silver mines. Everything's dead. Look at the UP. Tell them how great it is. As far as creating jobs, if all you are familiar with Walmart comes in, they're going to create jobs. They do. They close all the other small mom and pop businesses. They take their jobs away. I served 5 years on the city council in the city in northern Texas. I got knocked off because I wouldn't take a bribe. But we got a Walmart. We lost 14 other businesses that have closed. And that Walmart now has become a super Walmart. And they say, if you don't approve our bills the way we want it, you're anti-business. We will go somewhere else. They lie. They will tell you what you want to hear just to get it passed. I've always promoted that there should be more women as legislators. They're not as crooked as men. They're not as greedy. They can walk away. They don't demand the title the rest of their life. I'm Senator so-and-so, I'm so-and-so. They go back to being what they were when they came in, human. It's not a status symbol. What I heard here today, I think every tribe should have 5% of the representatives of the state of Wisconsin. I've heard more intelligent comments come out of the people in this room that I have reading the newspapers, what the hell goes on in Madison. The only thing I can think of is those people are in training to go to Washington and move up to the feds and get into the real big money. Because how can you go to sleep at night knowing that we the people, of the people, by the people means where's my next check coming from? In order to go to Washington, you have to sign a pledge, if you're a Republican, to a guy named Grover Norquist, who was never elected, but he controls American for Prosperity and millions of dollars. And if you don't sign a pledge that you will not raise taxes under any circumstances, he will field a candidate against you in a primary and knock you out. They took out Lugar in Indiana. They took out another one. And now, how can you raise your hand and pledge to serve the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin, and the people who elected you, and then turn around and enact a legislation like this? It has no respect for the people. It has a respect for the dollars. And I don't have to read the legislation that's proposed because the people that wrote it never read it. Why should I be smarter than them? I mean, it's just, I think the inmates are running the asylum. I'm sorry. I thank God I'm 70 years old and I'm not 20. I told my kids, you know, I really feel sorry for you because we have screwed it up so bad. You'll be lucky if you make it. Look what you got looking forward. I'm a dinosaur. I'd like to die a dinosaur. I had to ask somebody out there how to put my damn cell phone on mute because the wife runs that. I don't even run that. I like a phone that goes ring, ring, and I pick it up. But I don't understand why you were elected. Sure, everything's been gerrymandered. The state went Democratic, but all the Republicans knocked out the Democrats. Nobody understands that. Money talks, everybody walks. There's another word in there, but I'll skip that. But you represent the people. You are here. I noticed some had to go for a 6-hour drive. 6-hour drive up here is not all uncommon. Like I say, I live in Texas. 6-hour drive. Yeah, you want to go down to Houston? Go to Houston. It's only a 6-hour drive. But the point is, remember the people. The people remember you. Do the good thing. We don't need either one of these bills. I've heard stated, the present laws are good, the moratorium's there. Show us you can do it honestly, and we'll take a shot. And the thing that scares me is that the state was just made. The mine may not be built up here, it probably won't. Statewide, right now, fracking is going on that is ahead of the regulations. Fracking is one thing. But if this is statewide, I also used to be a contract negotiator. You always put one chip on the table that everybody's going to jump on because you're really trying to slide something else through. And this Penokee mine is the chip on the table. It will not be built, but the rest of the state is going to be sold to the highest bidder. Thank you.
Okay. Sandra, thank you for being here and waiting so patiently with your baby.
Buju, Sandy Nindigenikaz, Winnipishaba Indigu, Makwa Nindode, Musquabakong Nindunjiba, Ninguis Victor Jinikazo, Gijigu Winini, Mushkizibi Indigu, or my bad. Anyway, I'm Sandy, I'm from Red Cliff. This is Victor, this is my son, he's a Bad River tribal member. And I just wanted to start off by saying the majority of the food that my family eats comes from the woods. We eat venison damn near every night, and we eat wild rice, and this year we are very low on it, and this is our sustainability. This is why we have such a healthy family. And to take this away, it's taking our life away. Plain and simple. You know, for those of you that don't think it's going to affect that big lake out there, it will. And water moves. For people who say that the Kakagan sloughs aren't part of the Bad River, water moves. Erosion, all of that. Water does what it wants. Plain and simple. And, you know, really, how many times do we got to say no before this is classified as rape? Oh, miigwech.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Justice, is it Justice Gruno? Yep. Okay, I'm going to read some more here, so you know what, that I have the pile. Don Roberts, Don? Okay. John Helms? Okay. I read some of these before, but Jay Willman? Gretchen Morris? Okay. Sam Morris? Okay. Nick is here. Yeah, I read this before. John Moyer? Okay. Jim Jensen? Yeah. You are a patient group of people. Catherine Martin? Sarah Martinez? Just left. Graham Garfield? He's here? Yeah. Oh, okay. Maureen Matuswick? Maureen? Here? No? She's not here? Jade Wong? Okay. Jean Lemons? Deb Gibbons? Colleen, there's a few more. Colleen Benowell? She's here? Devin Salter? Here or not? Here? Here? Okay. Sheila Mitchell? She's here. Amazing.
She's right there.
Eric Iverson? Aren't you people tired? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Just kidding. Claire Morad?
Claire, there's Claire.
Claire's here. Kathy Noteboom?
Kathy Noteboom. No,
Not here.
Kathy.
Vincent Matson? Anna Cousin? It's amazing. Amarin Milo?
Amarin's here.
Mark Potvin? Ryan Retschke? Okay. Roy Setgas? I think
yeah.
Roy's here. Didn't I see Roy?
Yeah, I think he's
Diane Dalton?
Diane's here.
Diane, over on the right. Savo Newcomb?
Savo's here.
Savo, I'm sorry. Jennifer Mahan? Amazing. Joel Austin?
Right there.
Yep. Jeff Silbert?
Oh, Jeff.
I know Jeff's here.
You're listening to a special live broadcast from the American in Ashland, a listening session on the Democratic and Republican iron ore mining bills on Wisconsin Public Radio stations 90.9 WUWS in Ashland, 91.3 KUWS in Superior, and 97.7 WRNCLP Ashland, Northland College, community-supported radio.
Yep. Deborah Healy?
Yeah.
Yep. Charles Ortman?
Yeah, there we go, now we're at the end.
Frank Kane,
Oh, yeah.
and Mark Baston, and Eric Schubring. All right.
It's 10 minutes to 3 o'clock. I'm Danielle Kading. About 50 people have already shared testimony so far. It is not a public hearing, however. It is just a listening session on mining, hosted by State Representative Janet Bewely of Ashland and also State Representative Bob Jauch of Poplar. There are 7 lawmakers remaining, including Representative Stephen Smith of Shell Lake, Representative Milroy, Nick Milroy of South Range, State Representative Janet Bewely, Jauch, and Senators Cullen, Schultz, and Miller.
It has been a long day for everyone, I think, but I can't think of anything I would rather be doing, and I fully intend to stay right here until the last person has spoken, and I thank you all for doing the same. My name is Justice Gruno, and except for a brief stint spent in Duluth when I was a year old, I've lived right here my whole life. There's so much at stake. Hundreds of acres of wetlands, dozens of miles of Class 2 and 3 trout streams, Tyler Forks River and Copper Falls State Park, our groundwater, the health, the fish and rice beds of the Bad River Ojibwe, and the quality of the only land that hasn't yet been taken from them. Pollution would be inevitable. How do you pile 300 million cubic meters of waste rock on top of 815 acres of wetlands without it getting wet? We keep hearing that we can engineer a solution. How? Magic? Prayers? With no specifics being offered, that's what it sounds like. And for what? A few hundred jobs for a few decades, a temporary economic boost that would leave us worse off than before. A gentleman earlier today spoke of all of the money that would be required up front to pay for more roads, expanded schools, increased EMS, and enlarged hospitals. Even if we get all this money, what about after the mine closes and we find ourselves unable to pay for all of this expanded infrastructure that we now have? More empty homes and dark storefronts than we have now. And this is what's going to happen even if the mine goes exactly according to plan. Just look at Hurley Ironwood, Virginia, Minnesota, or any number of other post-extractive resource communities. At an Ashland County board meeting yesterday, I heard that someone stood up and said, "This seems mostly like a Native issue." I want to make it clear to the entire state that this is not the case. This is all of us, black, white, red, and yellow, standing together for our air, our water, our land, and our future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don Roberts, and then I've just had a slip here of someone who's been waiting all day who wanted to speak in favor of the bill.
Do they want to go first? I'll let them go first.
Okay, that's fine. Steve? Is Steve Schurter? Yeah, so I have done everything I could when I've gotten a slip here that somebody wants to speak.
That gets you sainthood, Senator.
Huh?
Get you sainthood. That gets you sainthood.
Sainthood.
First time ever. Explain it to him, will you please, Representative Bewely, what sainthood might be. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Steve Schurter. My home is in Montreal. That is beautiful Montreal for those of you unfortunate enough to live in the more tropical parts of the state. And that is in scenic Iron County. I live here by choice, not by chance. I'd never seen the Gagibik Range until '83 when myself and 2 co-workers came up here to go skiing. I became a regular the next year, finally purchasing a home in Montreal. I've made my living in industry. I know that every industry that's going to be worthwhile has a plan. Call it a wish list if you want. Allison Transmission did, and G-Tech does as well. I challenge you and anyone here to drive Highway 77 from Hurley to Mellon and look at the effects of 100 years of mining that ceased 50 years ago. And what do you see? Be careful looking around too much. You'll get jumped by the deer. The fishing is excellent. There's no three-eyed fish out there, ladies and gentlemen. The water flows to the south. That was an issue here apparently earlier. I passed over the Montreal River twice coming out here, both East and West Fork. The water's clear and clean. The fishing's good. Now, all this happened without any oversight except by what the mining companies wanted. That is no longer the case. They have to confront the Department of Natural Resources, the Army Corps of Engineers, and anybody that's willing to man a picket line. I am one of those people who will walk a picket line. I have. I'm here because of the beauty of it. But I would also like to see my neighbors who have two beautiful children, not unlike some of those little love bumps that we've seen running around here, that are just sweet. I want them to get an education, have some technical skills, and get a good job. Something besides Walmart or the casino, but something that would let them buy a mine home, an old mining home as I have, and fix it up, or build a new home. As it is right now, and what I have seen since '83, the only thing that's enduring is the status quo. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't see that that's going to get us anything. We have to give these firms oversight. It's mandatory. I like the clean air and clean water no less than Chairman Wiggins does. I've spoken with the senator twice. Senator, you're the senator, excuse me. The chairman twice. I think this is the 7th meeting I have been to pertaining to this. I'd like to see some progress made on this, sometimes before I'm old and gray. You know what I mean on that, Senator? I thought you did. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Senator Cole's got a question.
I have a question.
Yes, Senator.
I spent over 20 years in the private sector, and I'm somewhat familiar with business plans and so on. But I wonder if you might want, if you want to respond. GTEC stated at the hearing in Madison a couple weeks ago that they had never built or operated an iron ore mine. That they are a West Virginia coal company and some other states. So I'm just curious about how a company who's never operated, how could we have confidence in a business plan of a company who's their business plan for an iron ore mine when they've never built or operated an iron ore mine?
Well, they may have never operated one, but they have operated mines. I'm in their office occasionally. Mining information of any type is up here, whether it be up in Minnesota or over at White Pine. That information can be found without a great deal of difficulty. Not only that, you can always, seemingly in our electronic age, you can email or online virtually anything that you want, though you better know a little bit about it. Some of these sources seem to be rather suspect, believable only because they're on the internet.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much for being here. John, no, Don Roberts next, right? I already moved your slip, and I was going to the next one.
Good afternoon. I was born and raised in Superior, and I watched the St. Louis River go from good to bad. And when they talked about the Nemadji River, I know that. And they didn't also, I've also used to fish in the Amnicon and the Poplar River. I know a little bit about this lake. And what I mean by knowing a little bit about this lake is, as I grew up in Superior, We did a lot of fishing in the St. Louis River, and we did a lot of fishing in around Barker's Island. And when I went to school, to college, I had to find a way to pay for my schooling, and I sailed on an iron ore boat one summer, and I got to see how beautiful Lake Superior is compared to Lake Michigan, compared to Lake Erie, Lake Huron. Lake Superior is beyond belief. If you can get out there in the middle of the lake and see what it's about, you'll understand just how pure that lake is. I spent all the last night, I couldn't sleep at all last night. And I live in Wausau, and I drove up here this morning, and I wanted to speak, to say something that hasn't been said. And because I've had a chance to experience all the people that have talked here, all the people that make you feel at home, that make you feel proud of living next to a lake that you can wake up in the morning and smell. You can wake up in the morning and feel that lake. People don't explain to you how hard living in this area is. To live near the lake is beautiful in the summertime, but it also can be hard and it can be depressing because when the wind comes off the east, off the lake, it can turn the temperature down 20 degrees. And you can have to sometimes go 20 miles out of town just to get to the warm temperatures again. And it'll switch just like that. So after watching all this and feeling the love that the people in this whole room have expressed, I'm very proud of these people because these people stand strong and they believe in what they're doing is trying to save something greater than most people will ever know until they live here. Not just visit, but live here, because this is an extremely well, I can't explain it. I live in Wausau now, but my heart still lies in this lake. And I swear to God, when I die, I want to be buried in the lake, okay? It's just a part of me, and I think it's a part of a lot of people here. I also have one other question, or not a question, but another thing I want to bring up. They were talking earlier. Oh, there's so many things I want to bring up. But the mining issue bill, when they talk about iron ore mining, what percent of that mine has to be iron ore? Can it be 2%, 8%, 10%, 60%? Does anybody have an answer to that? I mean, I don't know. Because what scares me is if they say they want iron ore or pass this iron ore mine and change it the way that they're doing, the way that they're looking at it. I'm thinking out of the box here a little bit, but my thought pattern goes to the fact that maybe they want to just say they're going to stick an iron mine here or here and not really mine for iron ore, but mine for gold or silver or whatever else. And it's scary because they're one step ahead of us as far as thinking out of the box if they're doing that. I hope I'm making sense. One other thing too, there was a gentleman that came in here earlier, he talked about how he graduated in '68 and he was from Ashland and he had to move to the Iron Range to work in the mines. I also graduated in '68. I also had to move from Superior. Superior, when I left, the population in Superior was 33,000, I believe. Now it's 27,000. At least Ashland's done a little better than Superior as far as population goes. So I thank you for your time. And I also want you to know that people are waking up People are speaking up, and people are feeling stronger that they have a voice. And thanks to you all listening to us, we have a chance to express that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. John? John Helms? John? Yep, that's me. Okay. And then Jay Willman next.
Hi. Thanks for hanging in there, you guys. Holy, how do you sit in those chairs that long?
I can't feel a thing.
Be standing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of good things, a lot of emotional things, a lot of drama, was brought before you guys, and I don't understand how those other representatives or whatever you want to call them in Madison think, or where their heart's at, or anything to that matter, when they let this kind of legislation, or whatever you want to call it, even be thought of being passed. But I just want to point out, go back to when we were talking about the treaties back in 1854, that treaty, and it kind of put all the bands on the little concentration camps, and it freed up the Iron Range over in Minnesota. That was some of the intent of that, because they already knew where the iron was or where they wanted to mine, so they got the people out of there. And then people that wanted to mine, that's where they went. They went to Hibbing, they went to Virginia, and they mined. And good or bad, we've learned that it's not really a good deal. And now, the people that live in this area, I'm new here. I just came back recently, last couple of weeks, and I'm not a miner. And I learned that the people around here aren't miners either. They live off the lake. They live off, their living in one way or another comes from the lake. And to let that the possibility of a mine go through is what everybody has been saying, is genocide. And there's a lot of people left, so I just want to say, no, we don't need that here. And you hear the emotion of everybody talking, and that's what it gets down to, is if we have to go and be on the spot and fight for what we need here, then that's what we're going to do, I guess. But thanks for your time, and thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, Jay. Gretchen Morris will be next.
Hello. Thanks for having this forum. I really believe that it's what makes the democratic process really work, to give we the people a chance to express ourselves. I remember learning in school about the three branches of government, legislative, executive, and a judicial, and it just seems lately we've had a fourth that I missed out on. That's the corporate branch of government. I just recently read a book about the founding fathers and the wisdom of separation of church and state. And, it might be a good idea to amend our Constitution to have a separation of corporations and state. I also believe it's very important to once in a while remind our legislators and our representatives that they govern and make these laws with the consent of the people. And I'm here to tell you, I do not give you my consent to pass laws to permit this mining to come. And I hope Representative Bewely and Senator Jauch, I hope you got my letter I wrote about a week ago or so. Excuse me here. You know, maybe the best thing would be to have a referendum. Let we, the people, vote on it. But barring that, this is the process we have to use. So I do thank you very much for coming and hearing us speak. I'll try and keep this short. Like many, it's okay to speak with emotion, though. There's nothing radical or extreme about that. That's from the heart. People are speaking their heart here, and it's very important. It comes down to trust. It's all about the water. It's all about the wetlands and the long-term potential negative impacts. You know, if you're looking just at jobs, why don't we do the opposite? You know, why don't we start a program where if you're willing to, you know, donate or volunteer for maybe 40 hours or so, give the people the tools and the knowledge they need to actually help and enhance the environment, do some habitat restoration, do some cleanup, do some good positive things. You should be doing the opposite, you know. And to speak to the wetlands, we've basically lost approximately 50% of the wetlands before we even realized the benefits from them. You know, I can name a couple right off that. You know, it filters the water. You know, it allows the small creatures, you know, for the whole web of life. It also helps buffer for storm damage. You know, the Army Corps of Engineers could speak to that. Decades ago, they spent millions of dollars down in Louisiana for the Mississippi River to make the canals better for shipping. And then they spent hundreds of millions of dollars to try and put it back to the way it originally was, because they realized the storm surge. So I mean, we need to learn from history. And history tells us that we need to err on the side of caution. You know, an ounce of prevention is really worth a pound of cure. You know, you can say these companies have rights, but if it infringes on our rights, it's not acceptable. I'm also concerned with, you know, the DNR secretary is appointed by the governor, and I don't believe that's should be. It's not right. And I have nothing personal against Kathy Stepp, but she basically said when she was appointed that she speaks to the governor. So, you know, do we trust our environmental standards to her? I think we know where that would go. The negative environmental impacts would be indefinite at best, and there's a good chance that it would never be the same. You know, what does history tell us? You look at the Great Lakes here. We knew back in the 40s and 50s that the ballast water from shipping, international shipping, we knew that that could bring exotic species in. Now there's trillions of quagga and zebra mussels. The perch fishery is devastated. I used to fish out there and get a lot of fish. That's forever. Okay? The Fox River. Okay? Yeah. What about the paper mills back then? They said it would cost so much money to put the pollution control standards in for PCBs. Then they spent all this money trying to dredge to get up the PCBs. They said it cost so much money. Now we'll cap it. But there's people that say that money that was spent to clean up the PCBs, they say that was put for environmental positive. It doesn't make any sense. I'll try and, excuse me here. I remember reading about, a few years back, from space, they had pictures of Wisconsin, and they were amazed because there was a section in Wisconsin just north of Shawano that stood out from the whole state, and that was the Menominee Indian Reservation. And you know, there's a lot of talk about sustainability, but I think they have it right, and I think we could learn a lot from our Indian neighbors, you know, about doing it right. The way I interpret it, they start sustainably harvesting the timber on one side, if I got this right, and then by the time they're done, they can start all over. You know, is this going to be one last bastion in our state? You know, look at these spots. You know, we the people must speak for the life of the supporting systems. This is our life. This is our health. The health from the watershed, and sense of place. You know, I'm fortunate because just about a half mile, I live down just west of Park Falls, and our land takes in a creek. It's about as pristine as you could hope for nowadays, and I walked down there, I just walked down there the other day. It's about a half mile, and it's beautiful, and I just sit there, and it's so serene, so quiet, and I go down there, and there's a towering white pine, Pinus strobus. It's well over 200 years old, and there's a pair of pileated woodpeckers, or do you say pileated, you know? But that's the sense of place that, you know, how can we even begin to know how many of these senses of place that the people in this area will affect them and their values? And, you know, that's all I have, excuse me. Thank you very much.
You're listening to a special live broadcast from the American in Ashland, a listening session on the Democratic and Republican iron ore mining bills on Wisconsin Public Radio stations 90.9 WUWS in Ashland, 91.3 KUWS in Superior, and 97.7 WRNC LP in Ashland. I'm Danielle Kading.
I'm going to do the best I can. Can you hear me? Okay. Gishikokwe Indigenous Cause, Wabization do Dim, Squabikong and Dunjaba. My name is Sky Woman. I'm from the Martin clan. I live in Red Cliff. I'm enrolled in Red Cliff. There's 7 chiefs in my family. 1 from Bad River. Couple from Sandy Lake. And there's more. I won't share that with you. My point being is this. This is not a Bad River issue. This is not an Indian issue. This is not a human issue. This is an all of creation issue. This is an issue for all of life. There are 1,300 miles that surround Lake Superior. Of that, 2,726 are shoreline. I think there's a lot of Indians, a lot of whites, a lot of African Americans, a lot of Hmong, all kinds of nationalities. I'm Anishinaabe. I am Huron from my father. I'm also Dutch and French. My mother, Blackfeet Dakota. Irish, Russian. I'm a member of the Red Cliff Band, which gives me rights. That's the difference. But I want everybody to know here today that we were all born upon this same earth mother that you see out here, every single one of us. I'm visual, so I'm going to be visual. I can talk loud, so I'm going to talk loud. I'm not going to use that. The turtle with the tree of life, important to the Anishinaabe. This came to me in a dream. As you can see, I did not draw this. I asked a gentleman to draw this for me. He drew what I asked him to draw. You will see the roots. The roots are white, red, yellow, black, green, blue, all the beautiful colors. They go upon the trees too, you'll see. Everyone here, you, everyone here, me, all my relations. We were all born upon this earth mother. All of us. To include, let's not forget today, the plants, the animals, the tree of life, the tree of life that we cut down so easily to build things we don't need. Now we want to talk about digging into her? For what? For what? I don't even understand the purpose of getting what? A job? A job. But what is it that you want down there? What is it that you want that's deep within her? What is it? I don't understand that, but I do know this. That's my mother. I stand upon her right now. She holds you. We were all born upon her. We are all related. Each and every one of us. This is not just a Bad River issue. This is not just a Wisconsin issue. This is a world issue. And Wisconsin, guess what? We can do this. We can show people the way Wisconsin. You guys have the right to challenge the way we live. This is our mother. All of us born upon her. I'm going to read some things because I'm having difficulty remembering it right now. I usually don't like to read from things. I usually like to just let them come through me. So I'm going to do the best I can right now. I've been thinking about some things that have come to me about our connection with our Earth Mother. Remember, I say our meaning all, even the universe, everything. All my relations, we are all connected. We are all born upon the same Earth Mother. All our ancestors, all our relatives, including all the animals and the plants and all things, everything that lay upon her are part of her. She is your mother. Remember this, she gave us all a bed to rest upon. She feeds us with the rice that grows upon the water, the fish in the lake, the deer, the plants. Even though she is polluted today, she quenches our thirst with the little she has left. Still giving us, even though we continue to take. We strip the trees from her to build more, make more, have more. More. Now you request once again to dig deep within her for things we do not need, but rather for something that is wanted. We tell our children to understand the difference between need and want. Yet it appears some, mind you, some, cannot understand this difference themselves. I challenge you to understand the difference. We are not to be greedy. Our Earth Mother has given us everything we need. Everything that we need. I would like to ask you this. Would you, any of yous up here, would you sell the water out of your womb if you were a mother? Would you sell the water out of your partner's womb? Would you sell the water out of your daughter's womb? Would you sell the water out of the womb of an unborn child? This is my mother's womb. I choose not to sell her water. Then I got to ask you this. I'm asking you this because you are in charge. I'm asking you if you will protect the unborn that do not have this choice. Will you protect them? Protect the water that they need to live. Will you do that for us? Will you protect us? You are our leaders. You are our voice. Will you speak for us? Miigwech. Wait 1 minute. I would like you guys to take this back with you. A young boy, non-Indian, now living in Red Cliff, wrote this. You'll see an image of Lake Superior here in the blue. This says, only when the last tree has died and the last river has been poisoned and the last fish has been caught will you realize that you cannot eat money. And I'll end by saying this. We all heard this term slavery. Slavery. I am not a slave to the mighty dollar. Are you? I am not a slave to the mighty dollar. Are you? I challenge you. Are you?
Thank you. Sam Morris.
Miigwech Gretchen. Basic Megasi and Indian Dish Nakas. Wabajashi do dim. Mone Wanikanen in Donjaba. Miigwech, all life. The thing is about life. I hold these right here, these sacred eagle feathers. And look at these right here, because when they blow them trees out, there could be eagles there. The sacred eagle that carries our prayers as Nishinabis to the Creator. You're going to be blowing them out. And every other spirit that we believe in as Anishinaabe. I believe highly in our culture. And I will die for the ways. I am gonna get you da. I ain't scared. I've been to the joint. I've been to prison. I'll fight. I ain't scared. So you need to realize there's thousands of natives, Americans, besides that, other people. Figure out how many Ojibways that live in the United States. Just tribes. Not even counting Canada. I think I counted it one time, it was 150. Just Ojibwe. Do you guys like to see 150 Ojibwe tribes down here? I don't hear yes or no. But that's what it's going to come down to. You take that back to Walker. You tell them the Gitchidas are going to stand and fight the warriors. I ain't going to play. And I don't know if any other Anishinaabe is. I don't play with my ceremonial stuff. Miigwech Mew.
Thank you very much. Louise Laddington. Louise? Is Louise still here? She's still here? She was here before. Louise, if you. And then Brenda Powers. Right now. And Senator Cullen is going to have to leave. Senator Cullen lives at the other end of the state. And I must say Senator Schultz does as well. So,
He's my driver.
And so both of them are going to have to leave. I'm going to ask Louise if you just take just a brief moment. I can't tell you how much I've appreciated the opportunity to work with these two gentlemen and how proud I am that they would stay and be here, spend the time yesterday, all day, visiting, meeting with families, learning their concerns. But I'd like to give each of them opportunity to say a couple of words before they leave and say thank you on behalf of the citizens of northern Wisconsin for their willingness to show that you count.
There's a standing ovation right now at the American in Ashland.
He's getting a lot of applause, isn't he? He likes it. Man of character. Go ahead. Which one of you want to go first? Senator.
Bob, I just want to thank you for putting together an informative tour and public hearing. I know it's disappointing for those of you who've waited all day long to see a couple legislators get up and seemingly not care. But we do have other lives and work that we must do, and we have a long trip back. I want to make the promise that I will watch on Wisconsin Eye all of the testimony that is given to the end of the hearing, and if you care to write or whatever, you're certainly welcome to do that. I appreciated very much your citizenship today towards every member of your community. I think it's a shining example of what we need in this country, and Bob, there's no question, it is what democracy looks like.
Thank you.
Well, ditto to everything that Senator Schultz just said about I'll be watching Wisconsin Eye, et cetera. I can't thank you very much. I just appreciate everything that you arranged up here. Every place we had a chance to go and see and listen, and Janet, all of your involvement and help as well. My deepest, this has been very meaningful for me today. You think, well, how much more can you hear and learn? Well, I heard and learned a lot today. People speaking from the heart. People with gray hair shedding tears. Gray-haired old men like me shedding tears. That means a lot. My only regret in leaving here today is that I just regret that the rest of my colleagues.
The Native people also knew that the Creator had given everything for us to survive on this earth.